Hi there, it's Dr. Lisa Smith from Errol Street Chiropractic in North Melbourne. And if you've got chronic lower back issues and maybe even some degeneration, then I have got the one thing that is often missed, and even if it's found, there are practitioners that just don't know what to do because there's a big connection between this one thing and chronic lower back. So stick around, I'm going to go through and actually let you know what that is in a moment. But chronic lower back is a big problem for those who do have it. I mean, you can start your day with having trouble getting out of bed, getting dressed, trouble with just doing your day-to-day work, trouble concentrating, not being able to play with your kids, your grandkids. And you look good on the outside, but you know you're suffering and you've got problems. And a lot of people will come to us after they've seen a whole bunch of different practitioners because we're Chiro BioPhysics practitioners. Now, what happens is that the one thing that is missed, and I'll tell you now, is that they don't check the actual curve of the lower back. The practitioners often miss the one thing that has a very big correlation between that and chronic lower back. So the curve is your lumbar lordosis, okay, that forward curve in that lower back. Now that curve is there for a reason, and if we don't have that curve that should be sitting at 40 degrees, we often will see lower back problems, and if it doesn't get corrected, this can turn into chronic lower back problems. And then the big fear for people with lower back issues is that it'll turn into a problem that may need some surgery. So it is so important to find out what that lower back curve is doing and correct it. Now, again, even if some practitioners find that you don't have a good lower back curve or a lumbar lordosis, they don't know what to do about it. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you the reason why we do need that curve. So I'm just going to grab my spine. Please run away. Okay, now hopefully you can see this okay. So this is a plastic model of the spine. Now you're looking at the spine on the side. So we've got a side profile. So as I'm standing is the spine. Now, when we're looking at the spine front on, we should be straight. However, when we're looking at you on the side, we need these curves. Now, the lower back curve should be sitting, as I said, at 40 degrees, and it's there as a shock absorber, okay? So that curve is absorbing the shock. So if the curve is great, then your joints and nerves and structures are absorbing that shock quite gently, really. However, if we now have a straightened lower back curve, does that make sense? You can kind of understand why I get frustrated when I see these problems and they don't get corrected. And now we've got this rod. So we're jamming up that lower back, where that force, that stress from the weight of the upper body, from the weight of your head and the pressure from the ground is now just creating a lot of shock in those structures and tissues and joints, and then you can see how that over time, that jarring is creating problems, okay? Because you think about it, that the weight of your upper body has to be taken by that lower back as well before you even do any kind of exercise or any kind of activity. So now if we have a loss of lower back curve, how are we going to fix that? You can exercise your little heart out. That's definitely not going to fix that curve. You can get a massage daily. You're going to feel good for a day or so, but that problem is still there. That curve is still straight. You can even get adjusted by your chiropractor, and that's going to feel good for a bit more than a day, but that curve is still straight. Okay, so the great thing about Chiro BioPhysics is that we actually help, for those who are good candidates for Chiro BioPhysics, we actually help to correct and improve that curve for that person and get more flexibility and just get more resilience back into that spine and reduce that loading and that stress to all those tissues in that lower back. So you can see why we get many people coming to us with lower back issues that haven't been resolved, that are not surgery cases, and hopefully won't be surgery cases after they've found us. Now the way that we correct that is depending on actually the person, the amount of damage, if they've got any degeneration in that lower back, will vary obviously from person to person, but we will, with Chiro BioPhysics, We'll do a few things. We will use a Denerol, which I had in my hand before. And the Denerol, sorry, this is I picked up the Scully roll here, but it's very similar. They will lie on that to increase the curve. Okay. We'll be doing exercises, corrective exercises. We'll be adjusting the spine into that to increase that curve. And obviously there's postural advice as well. But the chirobiophysics work is to really increase that curve and create that change. It's a corrective form of rehab really for that spine. So if you've got lower back issues or chronic lower back issues and you actually want help, then if you haven't tried chirobiophysics, then this is a great time to try. So just jump on our website if you need a little bit more information. Feel free to message and we'd be more than happy to help you out. And yeah, take care everyone. I hope you've got lots of information out of today. Bye then.